When your cat gently bites you during petting or play, do you actually know what they are trying to say? Yes. It can seem playful or even a little cute at first, but behind that small bite there is something deeper that most people miss. It is one of the most emotionally loaded ways your cat communicates boundaries. And if you ignore it or respond the wrong way, which most owners do, you might slowly break trust without realizing it. Let us start with what this behavior really means. Have you ever been petting your cat and suddenly they turn and give you a small bite? Most people think it is aggression, like the cat just snapped for no reason. But here is what is actually happening. Most cat bites in calm situations are not about aggression at all. They are about communication. Cats rarely jump straight to aggression without warning. Instead, they build up signals, subtle ones like tail flicks, ear shifts, or body tension. Think about that for a second. That bite is often not the first message, it is the last one. This is where most owners get it wrong. They only notice the bite and miss everything that came before. And if your cat lightly bites you and then immediately stays close instead of running away, do not brush it off. We will come back to why that matters later, because it changes everything about how you see this behavior. Have you ever noticed your cat seems fine one moment and then suddenly reacts? Most people assume it is unpredictable. Here is what is actually happening. Cats have very clear tolerance thresholds during interaction, especially during petting. When stimulation passes a certain point, their nervous system shifts from comfort to overload. Your cat is not turning on you, they are reaching their limit. Think about that for a second. That small bite is your cat saying, "This is too much for me." Cats prefer controlled interaction where they can start and stop contact on their terms. So when your cat bites gently, they are not rejecting you, they are asking for space while still staying connected, and that is a very different message than aggression. Have you ever noticed your cat sometimes licks you before biting or stays close right after? Most people think it is mixed signals. Here is what is actually happening. Cats use their mouths not just for defense but for social bonding. They groom those they trust and lightly bite. During that process, they also leave scent markers through close contact, reinforcing familiarity. This is not about pushing you away, it is about regulating closeness. And here is where it gets even more meaningful. When your cat bites but does not leave, they are not rejecting you, they are adjusting the interaction. You are already part of their safe space, so instead of leaving, they stay and communicate. That means the bond is still intact. They are just asking you to understand it better. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Have you ever wondered why cats use their mouths so precisely? Most people think biting is just instinct without meaning. Here is what is actually happening in the wild. Cats rely on precise, controlled bites for survival, hunting, defense, and communication with their own kind. Cats develop bite control early in life, learning how much pressure is acceptable during play and bonding. But here is the emotional shift. Your cat is using that same controlled behavior with you. Think about that. They could bite harder, but they do not. They measure it, they control it. That means your cat is not losing control. They are showing control, and that control is shaped around not hurting you, which makes the behavior far more intentional than it seems. Have you ever noticed your cat does not bite strangers the same way most people assume a bite is just a bite? Here is what is actually happening. Cats reserve gentle, controlled biting for those they feel safe with. So when your cat gives you a soft bite, that is not random, that is selective. Think about that for a second. They trust you enough to communicate honestly without fear. They are not masking their limits, they are showing them. And here is where it gets more powerful. Honest communication only happens where there is safety, so that bite is not distance, it is openness. Have you ever thought your cat was pushing you away when they bit you? Here is what most people never realize, that bite is not rejection, it is trust with boundaries. And that is one of the hardest forms of connection to recognize, because it does not feel warm in the moment, but it is honest. Remember earlier when it was mentioned that if your cat bites and stays close, it means something deeper. This is what that means. Your cat is choosing to stay even after saying stop. Think about that. They could leave, they could create distance, but they do not. They stay in your space. That means they are not ending the interaction, they are shaping it. And when an animal built on survival chooses to stay while setting a boundary, that is trust, that is emotional security, that is your Cat believing you will understand now. Here's something most people miss. What happens when your cat biting suddenly becomes stronger or more frequent? Most people think the cat is becoming aggressive, but here is what is actually happening. A change in bite intensity can signal stress, discomfort, or unmet needs. So, if gentle bites turn into harder ones, it is not random, it is progression. Think about that for a second. Your cat is speaking louder because they feel unheard. This is where your response matters most. Watch for early signs: slow tail movement, body tension. Small shifts. Respond before the bite, because once it reaches that point, the message has already been missed. Do not ignore it. So, when your cat bites you, are they being aggressive, or are they telling you something far more important? Because now you know it was never about anger, it was never about unpredictability, it was about communication. That is not a cat attacking you, that is a cat trusting you enough to set a boundary, and that small bite, it was never small to them, and it should not be small to you either.